Well, my name is Barry. I'm an alcoholic, and I'm doing Jukai 2. And one of the things that's in the book by Reb Anderson is the Bodhisattva vows, which are not part of the ceremony, but they inform the direction. And the first vow is, beings are innumerable. I vow to save them. How does one do that? Seems like an impossible task. Is it equivalent to the idea of enlightenment? That seems like an impossible task, too. I only have my eyes to see through. I only have my karma to deal with. I take it on faith that there is a big self, but every day I have to deal with the small self, the one who feels, the one with chaotic emotions. You might even say that my big self is equivalent maybe to my higher power. I believe it is. It's not inside, it's not outside. It's there, deeper than I can feel or touch. There is a chapter in the book on renunciation by Reb Anderson, and he relates a story of a Zen archer who's in Japan studying with a teacher. And the teacher has him hold the bow, and he's supposed not to let the string go. He's just supposed to hold it. And it's painful to hold it. It's quite a discipline. So the student takes it into his head, well, he's going to, just a little bit with his fingers let go, and then just a little bit more, and just a little bit more, and then all of a sudden the string goes. But it's a contrivance. And the teacher notices, so he kicks him out of the school. Because he didn't do it the right way. The instruction was to hold the bow taut, and the string lets go of itself. Well, eventually he gets back into the school, and he learns the right way, and one day the string goes of itself. I think it's a wonderful metaphor for us, because there's a direction to the bow, and the direction is to save all beings. And Reb Anderson says that the way that you do that, you save all beings by attending to your own defects. Now that I can practice. That I understand. It's small enough for me to do. And the idea of forgiveness. How does forgiveness happen? You make an amend in the ninth step. You set the groundwork. You do all the things that were suggested that we do to set the ground. And still forgiveness doesn't happen. You make the amend. And then sometimes forgiveness happens. Not them forgiving me forgiving them. That's the big part of it. And the string goes of itself. It just releases. And it's the same thing with gratitude. I can write a gratitude list, but that's not real gratitude. Real gratitude comes over the horizon. It happens. It is the result of doing the right thing long enough. So maybe these are little enlightenments. The precepts I'm talking about today are anger and not criticizing others. And I have several stories to tell from my experience. One is a resumption of my story yesterday I wanted to get to, but I didn't quite get there. I had returned to Japan, and I was going to an AA meeting at Roach Hall, downtown Stillwater. I had a new house. I was cleaning the carpet. I had a rug doctor. It was very heavy. Up and down, clean it. And I was thinking to myself, and I was getting angry. I was getting angry at somebody. And they were going to do this, and I was going to do that. And all of a sudden I realized I didn't know anybody at that club. I was getting angry at a phantom. Somebody that I had created in my head. So that was my anger. It's a creation of my head. I stopped and recognized it at this point. I created a resentment against a fictional person. So I clearly saw that it was not the person that was the cause of my anger, it was the habit of getting angry. And I did not achieve the release of the string at that moment, but I achieved some clarity, so that maybe the release would happen a little later on. There was another incident that happened just a little while ago, and it involves a closet and a can of mandarin oranges. The closet door sticks, and and a little vibration comes off it. So I put the mandarin oranges on the shelf. My wife opened the door and stuck. The can fell down and broke her foot. Well, maybe not broke her foot, but hurt her foot. And she got angry at me. And I was angry at her for getting angry at me unjustly. And also because it was Christmas and we were supposed to go over to our parents' house and she wasn't going to go because she had a cold or something and she made an excuse. So I was going by myself in bad weather and I didn't like that. So I was brewing a pot of resentment. I knew what it was. I didn't want to have it. And then again, I wanted to have it. So, what to do? Well, I know what the program told me to do. It tells me to pray for the person you have resentment for. But this was immediate because I was in the household with her. And I behaved in a loving and kind way. And the resentment vanished on the spot. And this is the case of the string releasing of its own. It just went. Just like that. And I was informed by my AA program, this is what you should do, and this will be the result, and it was true. And if you never practice the AA suggestions, you'll never know that such a thing is possible. You have to act against every inclination, alcoholic inclination that I have. And the results are sometimes miraculous. You cannot predict when the gratitude or the forgiveness comes. But it will come as long as you keep trying. Now I have to go back to Japan for my final story, and it has to do with not criticizing other people. There was this guy named Peter, young guy, who was just a fireball. And I got tired? Yep, I do. The first meeting I saw him, he was an older gentleman was there, and for somehow he had set Peter off, and Peter was a pusher. He kept coming after you, he wouldn't let go. So this puts people on edge. You start, so it just creates a powder keg. So I noted this, of course, and then this was in Osaka, and then Peter came to our meeting in Kyoto, and a guy called me up and said, "Did you hear Peter was drinking?" I said, "No, I didn't know that." Okay, so then I talked to somebody else on the phone. "You know what? I heard Peter was drinking." And he said, "Are you sure?" "Well, that's what I heard." And you know what he did? He called Peter. And he called Peter and he said, what I told him. And he also said that I had a gleam in my eye when I said it. I don't know how he knew this because we were speaking on the telephone. But that's what he said. So he set Peter off on me. And then we went through some uncomfortable times together because I had done wrong. I had passed on a rumor I did not know to be true. I had criticized someone who many of us felt was due to the criticism. But I was in the wrong. I clearly was. I created among a small community of people a source of friction and tension that was needless. So I learned tremendously from that. You can circulate negativity very easily. So I've learned to be very careful among a group of alcoholics to ever criticize another alcoholic. Most of the time it's absolutely not necessary. And if I do have a problem with someone, I can go to someone, my sponsor, about it. One of the things we practice in AA with our not to crosstalk is kind speech, loving speech with each other. And we listen. Most of the time in meetings, we listen. And so if I can practice kind speech with my fellows in AA, then I can take it out to the larger Sangha, which I'm a part of, and practice it there. Where it also is just as important. And I think I'll stop there, maybe a little early.